Today we're going to build a 3-to-1 system, a simple 3-to-1 haul system. A lot of people call it a Z-rig, but it's 3-to-1 mechanical advantage. We've already built a couple of anchors. We're not going to rebuild the anchors, but Terrell, Matt, and myself are going to build a 3-to-1 system using lightweight gear, and then we're going to put load on this system and change it over to a lower and then change back over to rate. So we'll try to talk this through as we go, and hopefully it works out. So Carol, what we want to do is just build a simple 3-to-1, and we want to explain what we're doing as we go. Well, the first thing we're going to do is put our redirect pulley into our anchor. When we build anchors for any wilderness situation, we always build an extended anchor. Never build your anchor close to where you don't have any working room or real estate behind the anchor, and you'll see why in just a little bit. So Terrell's putting on tandem prussics. One of them will be a short prussic, one will be a long. Matt, if you will put a pulley onto this anchor. So the other end is tied to a load. Rope comes from the load, goes through the redirect pulley. We will need a second carabiner in here. Since this pulley is not an omni block, we have to physically take the carabiner loose to take the pulley off, so we don't want to have to do that. So we're going to put another carabiner in over here to carry our progress capture prussics that's going to be holding the load. That way we never have to release the carabiner. All right, so the short carabiner, the short prusik will go in first. And then the long prusik on top of that. You might want to adjust that knot just a little bit. Carol, I thought you were on the side. That's fine. We're running the knot actually on top of the wraps, which we found makes it easier to release, and as far as strength, there's no difference in the strength. Lock that down. All right, so apply just a little bit of load, guys. Okay, you don't have to hold much, just enough to be able to demonstrate this. All right. So at this stage, our life safety is from here to here to here. All of this is not life safety. Everything in front of these prussics is life safety at this stage. So we're just going to build some simple mechanical advantage into this. We're going to put a haul prussic on the rope on that end. You don't have to go far. Okay, we theoretically have a 3-to-1 system now, so that gives us, if we've got 100 pounds, supposedly we could put 33 pounds and move that 100-pound load. So that's a 3-to-1 or a Z-rig right there. One thing that needs to be noted when we're doing this, you see how Matt's holding this up? If we're trying to pull like this, we're losing mechanical advantage with this angle. So we always want to try to pull as straight as possible to get the best mechanical advantage out of it. Sometimes that's not possible depending on the situation you're working in. So what I want you guys to do is, I tell you what, I will pull this up, and you'll pull it up, and then Matt will set the prussics. So let's just haul up slightly. We're moving up, we're moving the load up. All right, set. Matt's going to set the prussics. Now we can release. All right, so we've got a load on it. All the load's coming back to here. So now what we want to do is change over to lower. So at this stage, life safety is here. We can drop all this out of the system. So at this point, we can build our lowering system in behind the life safety of these progress capture prussics that's holding the load right now. We can use a Munter hitch here. We can use a rack, we can use a figure 8, we can use an ATC. Whatever you want to use is fine. We prefer the ATC, so Matt's going to put the ATC in. He's going to put it on the high friction side. This is our lower system, but we've got a problem. Now we've got all of our weight sitting right here, and we can't break these loose by hand. So we've got to put some mechanical advantage in to break these loose to get it back on our lowering system. Normally, in an RPM system, you would have a load release hitch to where we could release that. That's too complicated. It's a lot easier to do in the method we're going to teach you. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a VT hitch behind here. If you have another ATC, you can set this up as parallel plaquettes and use an ATC in guide mode here. But if you don't, then a VT works just as well. Take the slack out. All right, so this is the reason we extended our anchor. Now our lowering devices here, we have real estate to work with our VT or our ATC in guide mode behind it. So at this stage, if we could get the tension off of these, everything's going to hold by itself. So how do we propose getting the tension off? Like I say, normally we've got a load release hitch that we can release the load with a radium release. But here's a simple way to do it. You've got all this other rope laying here. So let's just make this a second rope. So we're going to isolate this by tying a knot in it. We'll just clip into the shelf right here. Now we've got this rope that we can use for mechanical advantage. This will go down back to the prusik, the hall prusik. So at this stage we have this side of the rope isolated that we're going to create mechanical advantage on. It is no longer applies to the load side of the line because we tied it off with a knot and isolated it back to this anchor. So all I've got to do is pull up on this side, creates a 2-to-1 mechanical advantage on the main line. As I pull up, prusiks go slack. Matt can man those prusiks. I will ease this back down until it's caught into this system. Now it is totally on the lowering system. This can come out. Untie your knot. At this stage, all I've got to do is man this VT, and it'll bring it right on down. Okay, put some load on it, guys. Now I'm on lower. All right, stop. If something happens, pay attention to this. If something was to happen, that lightning struck me or whatever, if I let go, the system holds. Now, if I want to change back over to raise, it's pretty simple to do. We're going to set these progress capture prusiks. I'm going to lower into the progress capture prusiks to where they're holding all the load. Life safety is now here back. I can DC the whole system except for the progress capture prusiks. We'll drop our pulley back in the other carabiner. Put our hall prusik on back down there. Now we're back on 3-to-1, raising back up. So that's the whole simple changeover procedure. One note I would like to make is if you use an omni-block pulley here instead of this pulley, then we can put the prusiks on the same carabiner as the pulley, because we can take the rope out without releasing the carabiner. So that's one way to shortcut this and save one carabiner. Another point to be made is when we're in our lowering system, we had an ATC up here, we had a VT back here. That could be a Munter and an ATC in a guide mode. That could be a rack with a VT hitch. It can be any combination as long as it passes the whistle test when you let go, that everything holds. So this is the same system that we just shown with the ATC and the VT hitch. Now we're doing it with as parallel plaquettes. That's two ATCs. This is a normal ATC in high friction mode. This is a normal ATC in guide mode. So if I want to lower this, all I've got to do, give me a carabiner there, is hook the nose carabiner in. Now I've got sort of a handle, and I can release this, start to lower. Pull on it, guys, pull on it, pull on it, pull on it. The more I release, the faster it'll go. If something happens that I get stung by a hornet or whatever, I let go, it's going to lock. That's parallel plaquette mode. Now let's go ahead and change this to a Munter right here. Okay, same lowering system with a Munter. Locked up. If I want to lower, all I've got to do is release right here. Of course, I need to be holding the brake side. They probably don't have enough strength to pull it. There we go. Y'all pulling hard, pull hard, pull hard. If I let go, it locks up. So that's with a Munter and a ATC in guide mode. You could also use a figure 8 device. You could use a rack. You could use any friction device you wanted and have this VT or this ATC behind, and it passes the whistle test. If you let go, it's going to lock up. Okay.